This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, you're listening to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio with me, Deb Wolf, and we are talking to Dusty Rainbow today, author of Cat Wrangling Made Easy, Kittens for Dummies, and other books too. And you can find them on Amazon and at your bookstores if you look them up. Easy to get, and I love Cat Wrangling Made Easy. It's one of my favorite cat books ever. I also like Tribe of the Tiger. For a flashback, if you want to read something really well written about how cats, the nature of cats, it's said that 95.6% of the genetics of a tiger, they're matched to a cat, 95.6% match between a tiger and a cat, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Welcome to the show, Dusty. Let's talk about cats.
Wow, that sounds great. Thank you for having me, and hi to your audience.
Well, okay, so I told my audience you'd be coming on, and we had some questions sent. We had 3 different, very similar cat elimination problems. And I know you know, but everybody out there, the most common problem people complain about with cats is that they're not using the litter box. And the most common reason for cats ending up homeless is because they're not using the litter box. Now, I have kind of a side question today, which is, how do you know when it's time to put your cat down? Because in one of these cases, the cat is extremely elderly and the quality of life is in question, I think. There's nothing wrong with the cat vet-wise, but this particular cat, owned by a woman named Allison, pees wherever. If you put anything on the floor, a jacket, shoes, anything at all, it will pee on it. It will also just pee randomly in the middle of the floor, poop in the middle of the floor, doesn't use the litter box. There are no other cats to threaten it in the home. She's really struggling with whether to put the cat down or not. And then there's somebody else calling with or emailing with a similar problem where it's a multi-cat household, multi-litter boxes, one cat just won't use them. But it's a victim cat, and it's probably being bullied. So that's another cat elimination problem. And we did have a third. And I think if we left it open for a week, we'd have 300. So these people all say, because I responded to them, they all say they have enough litter boxes. They all, more than they have cats. They all say the litter boxes are not in areas like by something noisy or scary. I recommended Feel Away pheromone spray to all of them, and they all sort of did a thumbs up to that. So what else can they do?
Okay, well, let's start with the elderly cat. Elderly cats, like elderly people, sometimes have cognitive issues. And as I always say, I know people get tired of it. It's like, oh, my cat's fine, my cat's fine. Well, your cat may not be fine. They could have arthritis, and it's difficult for them to get in and out of the box. It might be difficult to squat in the box. So, that could be an issue. It could be that we are suffering from diabetes, hyperthyroidism, or kidney disease, which causes cats to pee, have a larger production of urine. And so then even if the person scoops once a day, you have these big, huge pee clumps in there, and the box is dirty, even though the people don't think it's dirty. So that's another option. And as often happens with we humans, as we get older, we forget. And then there are people who develop cognitive issues. We call some of those issues Alzheimer's. And just as with people, cats and dogs can develop cognitive issues in their latter years. And they may not realize that they may forget where the box is.
So you know what? So how do you know? Like with a dog, usually when they develop this kind of issue, they'll do very telltale signs. Like the dog will go outside and do a perimeter search. Like go around the perimeter of the backyard over and over, like he's forgotten he's already done it. And you'll see him out there in the middle of the night, that kind of thing. Or he'll just have a desire to go out and check again and check again and check again. That's a typical doggy senility problem. Another problem would be that their eyesight gets a lot worse. So just putting up night lights helps huge with dogs as they get older. And they get less confused because they can see where they're going, in the middle of the night when they wake up. How do you know if your cat is senile, if that's part of the equation?
Well, okay, there are a number of ways. Frequently, there's vocalizing at night for no reason. And of course, that could also be hyperthyroidism. That's a huge thing. Missing the box is a red flag. Circling, sometimes they'll just kind of look at you and go, I don't know where I am. And so there are a number of things you can do. And I wish I could remember the name of it, but there is a supplement, Cinelife. It's called Cinelife. That is for cognitive issues. Now, it doesn't work on all of them, but I will say I had a Turkish van. His name was Herman. He was wonderful. And when he was 15, he started just screaming. I mean, he was.
Oh my God.
It just hurt my soul.
Screaming cat in the middle of the night? Even better.
Yes, sometimes in the middle of the night, but he'd also do it during the day. And it's like, my God, I took
horror movie stuff, right? Cats screaming.
Oh, it was just heartbreaking. And I took him to the vet and I said, he's in pain. And man, we did blood work and we did x-rays and we did it all and nothing. And it's like, no, it's got to be something. It's got to be thyroid. No, it's not thyroid. It's not this. It's not that. It's not this.
Okay. Did he scream at the vet?
No, of course not.
Oh, yeah. Like,
of course
one
not.
time. Okay.
I think that's because they're, but anyway, he said, well, I think it's cognitive. I think it's Alzheimer's. Well, I have a vet in Houston who is a specialist, and I talked to her and she says, it's a cognitive dysfunction. And she was the one that recommended the Cinelife. And so reluctantly, because I didn't believe either one of them, it's like, well, I'll go ahead and do it. But I just don't think this is going to help because he's in pain, because it sounded like pain. And I started on the Cinelife and the vocalizing stopped and the peeing outside the box stopped. And it was amazing. It was truly amazing. Don't give up. But
but definitely see the vet is one of the things you're trying to stress here, because you can't just say, well, I saw the vet last year and there was nothing wrong. When it's an old cat, it can happen quick and it could be an easy fix. Like if it's a thyroid problem, you're not going to train it out of her. It's a pill that fixes it, a daily pill. So you got to give your cat a chance, especially if you're contemplating putting it down. First, take it to the vet. Don't make a big decision like that without knowing if it's a quick fix.
Okay, so, if we find out that it is cognitive, there are still things you can do. You can confine the cat to a smaller area. I mean, if you've got a 2-story house and you've got one, as we recommend, a box on each floor, that's still a lot of room to cover. And it would be easy to, it would be a problem for kittens. It would sometimes, if you have kitties with bladder infections or those types of issues, it's still not enough boxes. So if you can keep the kitty confined to a smaller area, like a living room or whatever, then it's easier to find the box. Also, there are litter boxes that are low-sided, so cats can just step into boxes. They don't have to jump. There was a cat, when a lady found out that I was writing a book on inappropriate elimination, which Cat Scene Investigator, Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. She said, well, I want you to tell me why my cat is suddenly too uppity to squat in the box.
Uppity. I love these words. Jealous,
uppity. Her cat was too uppity. He was suddenly uppity.
Yeah.
And so I asked her a few questions. Yes, he was 12 years old, or maybe he was 9. Anyway, he was 9 and 12, some in that area. And, he was standing up when he was peeing. So it was going over the wall of the box. And, but he was too uppity. And I said, well, I think he's got arthritis. Oh, he doesn't have arthritis. He can jump on the counter. So I had to I had to put this in terms she could understand. I guessed she was probably in her early 60s. And I said, well, let's try something. When you jump on a counter, it takes a fraction of a second to go from, those 3 feet. It happens very quickly. So if there's pain, it's just very quick. I said, but when you're squatting in a box, when you're trying to go to the bathroom, that takes 30, 45 seconds. You can't empty your bladder in 2 seconds. So it takes a while. And he's in a squat position for that entire time. She says, well, no, he's just being uppity. And I said, okay, let's do this. I want you to squat as far down as you can for 20 seconds. And only when I did that was she willing to admit that maybe the cat was experiencing pain. And I don't understand why people prefer to think their cats are being intentionally bad. But anyway, I finally got through to her. So it could be that, it physically hurts to go to the bathroom. There are a lot of things you can do. And like I said, I go into a great deal of detail of options for senior cats. I actually have a whole section on that in the book.
Okay, we have to go to break. We'll be back talking more with Dusty Rainbolt in just a minute. Stay tuned on Animal Party Pet Life Radio.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, you're back on Animal Party Pet Life Radio. I want to move on a little bit, but we're so many cat elimination questions, Dusty. We've got Dusty Rainbolt, author of Cat Wrangling Made Easy, my favorite cat book ever, and a bunch of others, including a book on cat elimination. And you can find her books at Amazon. And Dusty, for the problem where there were multiple cats, multiple litter boxes, everybody getting along great, but one cat scared, victimized, shy, not using the litter box. I tried on air talking to get the person to, as you do, you suggest things and they say, oh, we can't do that, or we can do this. And we got to a point where it was really hard to figure out a way to make that victimized cat feel safe using the litter. So one thing I came up with was, while he's cuddling his dominant cat on the couch, if she's difficult at all, to stop cuddling her. If she's being mean or bullying, stop giving her the attention. And if he catches her being mean or bullying, to have a cardboard box ready to just sort of place over top of her as a timeout, temporary timeout. It's not great though, and it's not going to solve his problem. What can you do if you have a bully and litter boxes and an issue where a victim cat just doesn't feel safe?
That is really tough. And without knowing what the house looks like and how many litter boxes they have and everything, it's just kind of a difficult thing to answer, but I will try. Okay, it sounds like this is a very educated person.
Yeah, very, very educated person, very experienced cat owner, multiple litter boxes, has listened to the show for years and followed everything, has actually heard you and me do this show for years.
Oh,
so,
that's awesome.
Anyway, followed absolutely everything that we could have suggested up until now, except for the box. That was a new one. But, doesn't really know what to do. And it's been 7 years.
Okay.
Soiling on the ground and peeing on the ground. So I think part of the problem with this, and with the one Allison with her cat, because Allison now has house guests with pets and all the pets are peeing and pooping wherever. So I think part of that is cleaning up the scent, right? You've got a scent from the cat that's erring and making mistakes. And now you got everybody copying, thinking, well, the whole world's our bathroom because it all smells like it.
That's exactly right. But before we figure that out, one thing that you might have to do, and nobody wants to do it, but we did it in our house. We created a room and I put a screen door in. It was on a barn door setup, so it's a sliding screen door. And we put the victim cat in here, and it's worked out awesome because it is a screen door. You've got the air flowing in and out. The cat is safe. The cat can use the litter box by himself without somebody bullying him or staring at him or trapping him inside a covered box or whatever. And eventually we were able to open the door and let him out, and everything was fine. But, it did take work. And also, we just went ahead and ripped out the carpet. We don't have any carpet in our house except on the stairwell. So,
But even floors can keep a scent, right? You have to clean it with your normal cleaners and then vinegar it and then use an enzyme cleaner designed especially for animal scents.
You don't need
well,
to.
That's what I find. You think you can just use regular?
Well, I think that if you have like hard flooring, like a ceramic tile or marble or something like that, I don't think you need to go through that. They do have a new grout that is waterproof.
See, that's the thing. It gets in the grout. It gets in the corners. I really have had better luck with doing it all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to everybody out there, there are new grouts that are waterproof. And so, they're a little more expensive than a normal grout, but I would definitely invest in that. We have had fabulous luck with it. Of course, then you also have like wood flooring and it penetrates the wood floor. So yes, you might need to do all that. I've had very good luck with the oxygen-based products.
Okay.
It's a newer generation of products. And to me, that gets everything really cleaned up. So if it's got oxy in the name, it's probably pretty effective.
Okay. Well, we had a couple of questions,
Okay.
and one of them I think is really interesting because it kind of pertains to you and me right now. Someone asked me, there was a long email and it was talking about how so many people on Facebook talk about rescue dogs and rescue cats, and she was pointing out, like, what is really a rescue? If you go and get a cat and you pay money for it, or you go find a dog on the internet that purebred dog, and it's had a good home and it's been trained, and is that really a rescue? And then, when I think about the two kittens I have now, their dad lived in a barn. The lady who owned them didn't really want kittens. They were born under her bed. It took her weeks to get them to come out. Unfortunately, she didn't have litter at one point, so they were using bedding and other soft blankets and things as litter. So I have a bit of a task ahead of me to train these cats, right? They came a little bit feral. One wouldn't go near you. They wanted to pee and poo on all the blankets and bedding. Not good. That to me is rescue. And I'll spay and neuter them and vaccinate them. I've also participated where we trapped cats at the Abbotsford Airport that were a danger, and spay and neutered them and rehomed them or released them. That's also rescue. But what does it matter? Like, where do you draw the line with the rescue? What rescue dog, rescue cat?
Well, okay, I have an opinion about that. To me, rescue is what you and I do. We get the cats from the shelter, or we take them from people who have rescued them from a life and death situation. For me, that's it. But the truth is, people say, "Oh, I rescued my dog." Well, that could mean that they adopted through a kill shelter. They rescued that dog. I mean, it's not like it's going to be a lifelong, it's not going to be a lifestyle like it is with you and me, but they did rescue the dog.
There is a gratitude when you rescue a dog or a cat. If they've known hunger or they've known abandonment or they had a family and then they didn't, they are so grateful once they figure out you're sticking around. I mean, you really do get an amazing pet at the end of it. But there are some hurdles at the beginning.
There are. But the other thing I was thinking, you do get people that say they've rescued a pet and they bought a pedigree dog off of Craigslist. And it's like, I kind of draw the line there. That's not really, okay, the people may have an animal that they're trying to get rid of, they need to move or whatever. And you know what? If the people want to think that they've rescued an animal, I just let it go.
Yeah.
As long as they're not buying a pedigreed animal, I'm good with that.
Okay, we have to go to break, and we're going to come back and tackle a couple more questions from you all. Thank you so much for asking your questions. If you want to ask me with your voice, you can leave a voice clip using your cell phone or whatever at deb@petliferadio.com. And we will play the clip on the air, which we love, and then answer it. Okay, so Dusty, we're going to break. We'll be back with Dusty Rainbow. Stay tuned.
Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. cattreetray.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello! We're back on the air with Dusty Rainbow, and we had a question for you, Dusty. Why do cats hate the vet? And also, someone else asked, why do cats hate dogs? Well, I don't think that's actually true in either case, but what do you think?
Well, okay, let's face it. If our only experience with our best friend, the person who is now our best friend, is to go to them and they stick a thermometer up our butt and they give us shots and they're holding us down for blood work, that best friend's not going to be a best friend anymore. So what I recommend is you can train your cat to be more at ease at the vet's office. You know, it starts out with the carrier. You know, if the carrier has pee and vomit in it from past trips and you haven't cleaned it out and it's got a dirty blanket in it and you bring it out and the cat's just gone, they know what's coming next. So instead, what you do is you get a new carrier that you've never used before, spray some Feliway in there, put their treats in there, put a nice little blankie in there, let them sleep, feed them in there. And that's it. That's all you do. It becomes a refuge. And then when he's sleeping in there, you close the door and you walk him around the room and you open the door and you give him some treats. And then you do that and you walk around for a little longer and then you take him and you put him in the car and you go around the block. And I know this sounds ridiculous to take these little steps, but one by one, he's going, well, I'm not going to die. And then if you can take him to the vet and just do not a wellness visit, but just a visit and have the vet techs give him his favorite treats and pet him and talk to him. And then you leave. And eventually you're going to get to the point where he's not as anxious. And also at home, if you would, one thing you can do is to start handling him. Run your hands across him, all, nose to tail. Touch his toes, touch his feet, make his, act like you're going to trim the nails. Trim the nails. Good. That's good too. Anyway, so just start handling him all the time so that when the vet puts his hands or her hands on the cat, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be this horrible experience. And that's what I would do there.
And it's really similar for dogs. If you're listening and your dog hates the vet, well, bring him in, bring him for a visit, just weigh him and take him out again, give him a cookie. Do that a few times. If your dog's also afraid of the car, well, you got to figure that out. If your dog's also afraid of the carrier or the leash, well, all these things are going to contribute to the fear on that day. And for me, because cats love boxes, I'm able to just leave the carriers open with a treat or two in there, and not even just a blanket, and they'll go in there. So as long as the carrier isn't only in use during vet time, as long as it's part of life, they shouldn't hate it. Like a kid's bedroom. They're not going to hate their bedroom, even though it's where you tell them to go when they're being rude, you know?
Well, and this segues into your other question, cats and dogs. Another thing that's horrifying for cats. Cats are they're predators, but they are also prey, and their primary predator is a canine. Coyotes and foxes and dogs and such. So that's another problem with the veterinary clinic. If you go to a mixed animal practice where they've got dogs and cats and they're sitting in the waiting room together, I mean, oh my God, the cat must think he's going to die because there's this German Shepherd exuding German Shepherd pheromones and smells and everything.
Stinky dog, stinky afraid dog,
barking,
right?
barking.
Yeah, drooling, sweating, losing hair because they get nervous too, and they don't seem calm at all. Does it help your cat if there's a clinic cat? I think it does.
I think it does too, but what I have started doing, because I do go to a dog cat practice, I keep my cat in the car. I go in, check in, and then I go sit in the car. And when they're ready for me, I go in. And so then they're not having to sit there because I've had times where people have allowed their dogs to come over and get nose level with my cat and sniff the carrier. And I would tell people, please don't let your dog do that. And they'll say something like, oh, my dog likes cats. And it's like, well, my cat doesn't know that. So move your dog. And people are just, oh, my dog doesn't bite. Well, he doesn't bite you. He might cause problems with another human.
Okay. So the thing is though, I mean, I think what you just said is totally right. And if your cat doesn't know dogs, then he doesn't know that your dog doesn't bite cats. But if your cat actually is dog friendly, it's amazing how well they read each other. So he would actually know that dog is not a threat, but he still doesn't really want to meet and greet right now. I'm at the vet. I don't feel good. I hate this place. Why are you making me deal with this? Right? Even if your cat loves dogs and your dog loves cats, this is not a meet and greet time. Everybody's possibly contagious for one thing. What are you doing?
Exactly. And the thing that even if your cat is dog friendly and he's got a dog that he sleeps with at home, this is not his dog. This is a potential predator. And so even if your cat is friendly to dogs, that doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to be thrilled about some dog sniffing, coming nose to nose with his carrier, because he's trapped. He can't go anywhere. And
so about the clinic cat, I think sometimes, especially when they're super chill, like the clinic I go to, they have one of my rescue cats, in fact, they ended up there. And this cat, I mean, it is just, you could leave the front door of the clinic open. It's not going anywhere. A dog comes in and it immediately figures out if it's a decent dog that it can approach or if it should go somewhere else. And it's got like all the great skills of a clinic cat, but it's so fat and lazy and it just hangs around. So any cat in a carrier waiting for its appointment sees this totally mellow, chill cat. Like it's just watching. Well, that cat's not afraid. That cat's not freaked out. Nobody's chasing that cat. That cat seems safe. Is that true? Am I right about that? That it helps?
Well, I've only been to a couple of clinics that had clinic cats, but I would think that a cat being calm and not exuding fear pheromones would be helpful. I'm sure that if they're reading the other cats who are also afraid, that that would contribute. But I can't see that it would hurt. I don't know that it would be helpful to all cats, but I think it's a good idea.
For the right cat. It takes a really
right
special cat to be a clinic cat. It was such a strange coincidence. I had this cat that I couldn't keep skinny, like the caller and Margaret with her cat Lucy. I tried and I tried and I tried this female calico, and no matter what I did, I mean, I reduced her diet and everything. She'd eat all the other cats' food. She'd eat the dog's food. She'd go out and she would go out on my closed patio where it's totally safe and somehow catch wasps and eat their heads. Like she just managed to supplement her diet no matter what I did. And all the other cats were like too thin because I had to monitor everybody. And then finally I had to go away and I knew like I'd finally got her to lose like, I don't know, she was down to like 14 pounds or something. And I went away for a couple of weeks. And right as soon as I got back, my teenagers had just let everybody free feed. And she was back up to 21 pounds, like no time, right? She was so, I thought, oh my God. And I went to the vet like usual. And he's giving me the lecture. You're going to have a diabetic cat. So I finally said, you know what? I'm going to have to give her up. Like, I'm obviously not the right. She needs a single cat home where the food is totally controlled and there's no teenagers. So I went to the clinic with my little poster with her picture, and I'm walking through the clinic, and the wife of the vet who runs the clinic stops me and says, "Do you think your cat would make a good clinic cat?" I don't see why not. I mean, she lives at Camp Good Dog. She's perfectly able to read dogs and cats, and it's a nice cat. Just this is the problem. So I turns out they had a clinic cat, calico cat, that had just died. And all the customers were missing them. Where's the cat? Where's the cat? Where's the cat? So they took her. And of course, they said, we're going to get her slim. We'll slim her down. Okay, she's as fat as ever. In fact, she's fatter now. I go in and I'm always joking. I pick her up. I'm like, ooh, Pikachu. Like she's like shaped like a basketball. And but at least, if she becomes diabetic or whatever, they know what to do. Like, I don't want to do it's not my karma anymore. It's their responsibility. But she's perfectly happy. She's so happy. And when I come, she always greets me, sits on me and purrs like crazy and, perfectly happy. So for the right cat, it can be a really good life. But she gets into everything still. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Those cat food bags and dog food bags those packaging is so easily shred by a determined cat.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're
They can
absolutely
just
right.
slice it open, right? Free buffet. So once a cat figures that out, you're done, right? The diet is over. Yeah, they have to lock her out of the storeroom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we have some of these special bins with the screw-on caps and everything. So we have some that are equally as determined. Me
too. I can't have
up.
them. Yeah, no, the bags are not good. So, okay, so we had another question for you.
Uh-huh.
Why do cats meow? And I was thinking about this. I don't think they do meow very much when I work in TNR, when I'm dealing with a feral cat colony. I don't hear a lot of meowing except when we arrive. Do they meow to each other?
No, cats actually do not meow to each other. That is under natural circumstances, kittens meow to their mother. And so we as humans, as we said, I think in our previous show last week, because cats look at us as their mother cat, and they do the milk treading, and they have learned that if they meow at us, we respond. And a lot of times when they meow, we feed them. So we are reinforcing that if they perform this behavior, then they get rewarded. And
that's all those cats you see on YouTube going mom or hello or whatever. That's exactly what happened there. Right?
Well, sometimes those cats making those sounds are actually not very happy cats. If you look at the body language and the pupils and everything, some of those cats are really not happy. They're either afraid or there's something going on. And there's my little Jeffy over there yelling.
Okay, so when you say that, okay, so what is unhappy body language? Is it hunkered down? Is it stiff? What should someone watch for? Is a happy cat fur lying smooth and muscles relaxed and sort of a tall posture?
Absolutely. And in some of these videos, all we see is the face. And I remember this one, and it sounded like he was talking, but he was actually, if you listen deeper, it was more, there was a bit of a growl to it. And the pupils were enormous. And the whiskers were back up against their fur. So, a happy cat, the whiskers are going to be slightly forward, the ears are going to be forward, the body is going to be relaxed, and the pupils are going to be kind of mid, between enormous, round, no cornea. I mean, no color. And
It doesn't have to do with the light. How big
well,
the
yeah, yes and no. Yes,
Okay.
Of course, the iris is responsive to light, but then there are times when the cat is extremely agitated, the pupils will expand, and that's so that they have enough light to see whatever is their potential threat. And
I
so,
noticed that years ago with a border collie. I used to do herd training and I had goats and llamas. And this border collie student of mine from the city that had never seen a herd before was marched out on a leash. And as soon as it saw the herd, the pupils dilated as if it had been given a drug. Like it just went whoosh, And it turned out to be one of the ringers, one of the best herders I had. So I think some of it might be adrenaline.
well, in cats, a lot of times, if you see the fully dilated eyes, it's a good time just not to bother them. Just walk away. Just walk away. Keep all your digits.
True. So when we were talking earlier about play, sometimes people play with their cat and then they just sort of walk away. And I want to kind of tell them, the cat should catch it, right? At the end of this. Okay. Can we go through that a little bit? Because we talked about playing with them and getting them all active, but you don't want to just leave the hunt unfinished.
Exactly. That would be like playing a game of tennis or pickleball and then just have somebody go, okay, bye. And it's like, wait, we still have 2 or 3 more rounds to do. Wait, what? So you don't want to do that. But the natural hunting cycle is, you run, jump, you do this, you're very active, you catch your prey, the prey gets away, you run and jump and catch the prey again. And that could happen 3 or 4 times or 5 times. Because remember, not every hunt ends up with a kill or a meal. And so you do that. And after the lure or toy or whatever has gotten away, then you let them have it. You let them have it. You let them kill it. And then once you've done that, you end with a meal, because every successful hunt ends with a meal. And then they groom and then they go to sleep.
Okay. And if you don't end with a meal, I think sometimes they'll do things like ambush you on the stairs or
because the hunt's not over.
Exactly. Attack something, right? Like an object, maybe shred the back of your couch, like something that to that cat is perfectly sensible.
Well, and there's probably a level of frustration, but this brings me to one of the cat's favorite toys, which is the laser, the little red dot. And so when you're doing, it's a problem. I recommend it under certain circumstances, because cats that don't respond to other stimuli, like this might be good for the lady we talked about whose cat didn't want to exercise.
Yeah, the older lady. Yes, it could be because she could control how slow and how fast and
exactly
make it creep along and not give the cat too much exercise. You're right, a laser toy. I'm going to suggest that.
But to finish what I was saying, so you've got the laser toy, and it has the potential to be very frustrating because it just goes away. So what you need to do is let the cat pounce on it, and then maybe shake it and let it die, and then feed it. And again, the frustrating thing is he can't feel the fur or the feathers in his paws or his claws, and he can't bite it. But you can do the next best thing, and maybe you can put a regular toy down, a feather toy or a mouse or whatever.
Yeah, I think so, because she did say the cat, she liked a regular colored mouse, right? So you can toss her the mouse at the end of the play session.
Right. And then you feed them. and then you feed them,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
it's the full cycle, and they groom and go to sleep. And you want to do that at night too, before you go to sleep, because that'll give you a chance to get better rest than you would if the cat was going, hey, hey, poking you. Hey.
So I kind of mentioned earlier that I have these 2 rescue kittens, and they were unfortunately trained to soil on blankets and bedding. So I didn't know that. And I had, discovered it. So since then, I put these giant plastic tablecloths over the bedding, confined them to one room, which they were already confined to. Even though I could see that they could jump huge amounts, I gave them a litter box with no lid that they wouldn't have to jump into, a very shallow paint tray originally. And then as they got bigger, a bigger litter box, no lid though. Now that they're, I guess, 2.5 months, I've put the lid on, but it's only because they've been not soiling inappropriately at all for a few weeks already. And I think that's part of it, right? When you're training cats to get it right, how long is it? Like when the cat has abandoned the bad habit, so these kittens stopped soiling on the bed and the bedding and the blankets and the towels and all that because it was covered in plastic and eliminated, and they can't get at it now. How long before I can uncover my bed and know that they won't do it again?
Well, that depends. But according to Dr. Nick Dodman, who was the veterinary behaviorist and in charge of the behavior clinic at Tufts for many years, he said that, like humans, the change in habit takes about 3 to 4 weeks. So in a human, if you're trying to stop from biting your nails or whatever, if you've been able to fight it for 3 weeks, by that time you're creating the new habit. And so I would think 3 to 4 weeks. I did something really bad one time. Money was a bit tough to get a hold of. So I shredded newspapers and, office papers and stuff and used it in the litter box. Well, that was fine for my cats, but I also did that with my foster kittens, which was a very bad thing because then they learned to pee on papers. And fortunately, it was a friend of mine that adopted the kittens, and they tended to want to pee on paper. So it's like, nope, don't use paper because that could create a whole different problem.
And 3 to 4 weeks. See, to me, it seems like that's not enough because we've already had that. I'm going to err on the side of caution on this one and keep the things covered for quite a while longer. Because I think, like, if you think about someone who bites their nails or smokes cigarettes, I don't think 3 to 4 weeks is enough.
And the other thing you want to do is once you take the plastic sheet off, and by the way, some cats really like to pee on plastic, so that won't be that won't be an answer for everybody.
Thank God mine aren't like that. Cheech and Chong, thank you for not liking plastic. One blessing and all this.
What I would do after that, I would make it really uncomfortable for them. I would get a blanket or a quilt or something and spray it with citrus or a heavy perfume that they might not be a fan of and put it on there. And so cats don't like strong fragrances. And if you do that, then they're going to be more likely to go, oh, I just don't want to go there. But if you remove the sheet, the plastic sheet, and you have fabric and they don't learn aversion therapy to that, then they may go ahead and go back. So you just want to, and there are things you could do. There are products you can buy that have it's a little grill with little spiky things. It's not painful. It's just not comfortable. And if you put those or something similar on there, then they're just going to learn to avoid the bed.
Well, it's interesting because they figured out how to get around the plastic to find nice places to nestle, but they're not, since this whole new litter box thing is going on, they're 100% in the litter box. They love the litter box. So I'm really lucky. I'm not taking the plastic off for a long time. I'm not chancing it. Yeah. Okay. Well, so what about your foster kittens? What's going on there?
Oh, I've got 3. I call them the Kraken. So when I open the bathroom door and let them out in the morning, I can say, I released the Krakens. They're about 10 weeks old. They're precious. They belong to a feral mom. And They came to me with a really bad upper respiratory infection, and the eyes that were swollen shut, ringworm.
Yeah. So when you say what is rescue, this is rescue. Yeah.
This is rescue. This is really rescue. It really is.
My cats were in good shape that way, and my cats didn't have fleas. I want to ask you though, because someone emailed a question: how is it possible that my indoor house cat that's never been anywhere has fleas?
That is easy. That
Yeah.
is easy. I used to live years and years ago. I lived in an apartment. I didn't have any pets. There had never been pets in this apartment. And I had some kind of flea in there. And anyway, fleas can get in there in any number of ways. If you walk across a lawn that has flea eggs on it, you can track them into your house. And fleas will often hatch when they feel vibrations of footsteps. So that's a possibility.
Well, and you know, if you're a pet person, you're probably petting other pets. You're probably going to pet stores. You're probably talking and visiting and hanging out or working alongside people with pets. I mean, all these people could potentially, in some way, have a flea egg or two hanging around, right?
Entirely possible. I don't know about just petting them, but if you're walking on grass that's got the eggs, you're embedding it into your shoes, and then you're walking around your house in your carpet, and carpet's a nice place to hatch some flea eggs. But also remember, if your pet has fleas, then there's a very, very good chance that they're going to have tapeworms too, because you get tapeworms from ingesting flea eggs. So, that's something to remember as well.
Sometimes the only way you'll notice, it's kind of peculiar, is your cat will have what seems to be fur issues.
Right. A little rice around the butt. Yep.
Maybe, yeah, or missing patches or patchy fur. You might even think, oh, my cat's neurotic. He picks it himself. Well, maybe not. Maybe he has worms. And all he needs is one little dose of wormer, and a month later, a second dose, and he's done. And now he has beautiful fur. So sometimes I think people are reluctant, like you were saying earlier, reluctant to go to the vet, and they want it to be behavioral or personality, and it's not.
And it's not. Well, our little foster mom here, she has been hyper grooming her rib cage to her upper haunches, and she's going to be a barn cat because that's, she would prefer not to be around people. I think you can touch her, but she's not fond of it.
Yeah, famous last words. I've had 2 barn cats since I've lived on this farm in 1997. And first one was called Barn Cat, and second one was called Sadie. And in both cases, the rescue places guaranteed me this cat would never come in the house because I was like, I have too many cats. I don't want a cat. Right away, within 2 weeks, they're house cats. Like, why is Barn Cat on my bed?
Well, and I think she would, under normal circumstances, she would do well in a house that doesn't have children. You can pet her, but as you remove your hand, she scratches. And the lady before was saying, oh, I think she just doesn't want you to stop. Well, I think it's more when you're removing your hand, she's seeing motion out of her periphery. And if she was a feral or abandoned cat, then she's always looking out for threats, and she sees the movement and she immediately reacts to protect herself. And I think that's what's going on.
Do you think if you move your hand far more slowly, like almost slow motion, she won't react?
I have tried that, and sometimes she gives me the look, and it's like, I just want to get my hand out of there. She does get to the point where you've been scratching her for a minute or so, and it's like, I'm done. So she's a sweet cat. And like I said, under the right circumstances, she would be fine. But I could never, in good conscience, adopt her to a home with kids or grandkids.
That first person, the person with the cat where they're wondering whether to put it down or not, it's very elderly and it's goes to the bathroom on all kinds of bedding and anything left on the floor. That person, they also said their cat, you pet it for a very short time and then it lashes out. And they thought maybe that was a sign that it was time to put her down. But I think, like you say, it could be a sign of something else, like pain.
It could very well be a sign of pain. It could also be hyperesthesia, which is a syndrome. They really don't know what causes it. After a short time, physical contact becomes painful. I mean, if you think about it,
it's a nerve thing, right? Like a oversensitivity from the skin where everything hurts. Like if you have a migraine and someone tries to stroke your hair, it's not the right time.
That's the perfect example. It really is. And even if you don't have pain, if somebody rubs your arm up and down for 2 or 3 minutes and it's just like, stop it. So, I mean, you look at a teenage kid, you want to kiss them. It's like, Mom,
Stop playing with my hair, Mom. Yeah. So your cat. Okay. So when you're petting your cat, let your cat show you what it wants. Any cat, old cat, young cat, whatever. It'll press into you if it wants more pressure. It'll pull away a little bit if it wants less pressure. It may constantly give you the same area over and over and over. Rub its face into your hand or rub its butt into your leg or whatever. That's its choice. Don't fight it. Don't pick it up and rub its belly like it's a dog. Let it, and then maybe you won't have it lashing out at you so much, right?
That's exactly right. They will tell you what they want. And you may not even know it, though, because you have to watch the ears. Are the ears forward or the whiskers forward, like we're enjoying this? Or are the eyes slightly closed? Because those are all signs that we're really getting into this. But if the eyes are open, if skin is flicking, if ears are flicking, if the tail is moving around, it's time to stop.
If the tail, though, one caveat to that is if the tail is sort of in a loose, almost like a candy cane shape, and it sort of flops over and touches you and then flops back again, that is almost like a high five in cat talk. So that means your cat is having a really good time. Don't worry about that at all. But I think most of the time people touch cats not gently enough. They're tiny. Like, so if your cat is irritated by your touch, try fingertips. Try the lightest touch you can. And then after you've touched it for a second or two, just stop. If your cat wants more, it'll initiate, right?
Right. And one thing that I have found that I'm so excited about it, I have started using back scratchers with my feral cats and my less socialized cats, because that gives you an extra 12 inches and it allows you to scratch under the neck and around the ears and all places cats like to be scratched. They start to associate good things with humans, but if they lose control and swat, I'm not bleeding all over the house anymore.
You know what? I really hope Stacy Mantle from Pets Weekly magazine is listening right now, because she needs to hear that. I think I'm going to send her this show.
Hi, Stacy.
Yeah. Big shout out to Stacy at petsweekly.com, because she's got 2 feral cats she rescued that need this back scratch thing. Definitely. All right. Well, Dusty, thank you so much for joining me today. We went way over, but it was such a joy. Thank you. I hope you'll come back again on Animal Party.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to remind people that if they do have inappropriate elimination issues, that they can buy my book, Cat Scene Investigator, Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. You can get it at Amazon and you can order it other places. That is a really good book. There's a huge section on all the different health problems that can cause it. Lots of different ways to overcome inappropriate elimination.
And also Cat Wrangling Made Easy for people who have more than one cat. And Kittens for Dummies. If you've got a kitten, you need that. So check out Dusty's books at Amazon. Thank you so much, Dusty Rainbold, everybody. Thank you, Dusty.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to the next time.
Oh, definitely. I love having shows with you. We got to do it again. So everybody listening, if you have a cat problem or a cat question or a cat query and you didn't make it in time for today's show, send it to me and we'll put it on for the next time. Deb at PetLifeRadio.com if you want to say it, or you can just send it and we'll answer the question on air. Thanks very much, everybody. All right. From me, Deb Wolf, and Animal Party and Pet Life Radio, be good to your animals.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.